Even in drought and in deer country, Jeff Pavlat spends more time collecting plants and dividing them for friends than caring for them. Sure, like any plants, his cacti and succulents need some maintenance, along with gardener sensibility to their favored setting. And they get moved around when Jeff has a new idea for them or that spot. But most of the time, they simply grace the hillside that used to wash onto the driveway in a rainstorm. It all started when he and partner Ray Clayton tackled a problematic slope near the house.
It was kind of a learn-as-you-go thing. We both were learning how to use mortar and work with stone. Built a pond, and after a while doing that, then we decided to get more adventurous and start working on all of the walls in the rest of the garden. And there really wasn't an overall vision initially on what it was going to be. There was just a few walls that we needed to keep soil from rolling down, and it sort of expanded and expanded and expanded into what you see today. There was sort of this hole where the pond is now, and I tried to landscape it with stuff that was a little bit shady, but looking at it, it was like it just seemed like the perfect place to put a water feature. It's a little bit different in that it's mostly above ground. You just can't really tell it, but we built that in there and thought it was a great addition. We moved on to starting with the rest of the garden just to fix this hillside kept rolling down into our driveway. So we started building the retaining walls, and then I started getting more and more into the plants and landscaping. I've really liked agaves and aloes and cactus and things. For a long time, I had a few little potted plants here and there, and I would sit them around for years. But then when I started landscaping here, first of all, the deer will eat almost everything. And that's an area where I could plant most anything I wanted, and I don't have to worry about the deer eating them. Also, I don't have to water the garden, and that's a big plus. The more I work with the plants, the more I found that I've enjoyed them. On the cacti and stuff, I like the look of the spines. I don't like the feel of them so much gardening around them, but they are, I think, really attractive. It gives you a lot of real strong shapes to work with.
But like with any plants, styling them produces harmonious design.
Because they have strong shapes, you have to be careful not to put too many of the same shapes in even patterns. Odd groupings of things tend to work the best. And trying to just get a balance and mix of different colors, and usually I try to throw in other textures. One thing, when I do get a new batch of plants in, I move them around and leave them first in their pots, kind of try to see what looks the best, and I spend a fair bit of time before I actually start digging and putting them in. But a big advantage of cacti and succulents are you can move them around. As long as you can physically dig it up and move it, it doesn't matter how big it is. They don't mind. They can sit for days out of soil. They ship easily. So if you want to move it from one end of the garden and then wait until you get a bed ready on the other end, you can do that. So it's easy to kind of work it around. It's not like if you dig it up, it's going to just keel over and die. And the more I got into the plants, finding out what I could grow in the ground, I'm just naturally a collector of things. So I started collecting all the different types I could find, and then, of course, then I started moving into the things that I couldn't grow without a greenhouse. And I had everything across in front of the pond. I had about 300 plants at one time, just all different things that weren't cold hardy that I'd pull in and out in the winter. And then I got caught one day when it froze before I got home. I found out what would freeze and what wouldn't, but after that, I was like, I definitely need the greenhouse. So once I got the greenhouse, that sort of opened up. It's like I had to fill it.
For some that are semi-hardy, he just builds a mini greenhouse around them. At the top of the property, Jeff and Ray hauled more stones to build a staircase and upper story patio. Following the hillside's terrain, they connected it to the lower levels.
I really like millstone fountains, and so that was something I wanted to incorporate into another garden area. And the other thing I was wanting to build was a place to put my aloes. So when I got to designing that area, that's one of the last areas along the front to do. By that point, I had done enough rock work and stuff that I knew pretty well what I was doing. I really do like Japanese gardens and that sort of Zen design, and although it's not in any way adhering to any strict Japanese principles, it's, sort of, I think it gets that feel a little bit with the gravel, and then, I wanted to have the bubbling millstone, and it just sort of evolved that way. I did a lot of drawings for that area before I actually started building. The general shape of the area was dictated by the way the cliff runs along the front of the property, and then I just went from there.
With cardboard concrete tubing, he made inexpensive pedestals for his container plants. Their last project, at least until the next inspiration hits, are the steps he and Ray built to connect a cactus garden near the greenhouse to the play area they built for their son, Clayton. He helped too.
When our son was born, he would sit in his little stroller out when we finished the last section where the aloes are planted. And he had a lot of fun when he was little out, helping out too.
Before he was 6, Clayton had become a plant collector himself.
He has his own shelf in my greenhouse, and he'll go to the show and sale and he'll pick out plants he wants to buy. I've heard a lot of people that worry about these plants with small children. My son was born with all of these plants, and their children are pretty careful. It's older people that have to generally watch out. I do snip the tips off of the really sharp agaves and things that are eye level, both for me now and also, for him, because I don't want any serious injury like that. But in general, you just keep your hands out of them and, it's fine. For our club, one of the big selling points is the fact that the plants are so easy to grow. For most people that say that they can't grow plants, one of the issues is water. And I myself have this problem. I can kill a fern so fast. But on a plant that needs water once a week, once every 3 weeks, it's really easy to take care of. I mean, it's fairly low maintenance. And I think that's easy for a lot of people. It's like, for really active people, I'm going to go away for a week. I don't have to have anyone come water my plants. And I mean, I think they're very exotic also in a lot of ways.